attract some of his best players. We talked about Rachel Fairbanks. She's from Southern California, and the two fine freshmen, Babcock along with Stafford, are also from the Southern California area. The Cougars will be wearing the dark jerseys and Pittsburgh in their home white. And we are set to go. Once again, best 3 out of 5 sets for a chance to play Louisville and advance to Tampa, Florida for the championship. Serving first, Lana Rakotovic. That ball is down. Radakovic, a transfer from UC Davis, a 6'2" grad student originally from San Francisco. Very unique team at Washington State. They feature 8 players from outside the United States, mostly from Europe. We'll detail that story as it goes along. Serving for the first time, Valeria Vasquez Gomez. Very, very good all-around player out of Puerto Rico. So a really, really good senior season for the Panthers. Iman Isanovic out of Bosnia-Herzegovina, able to get that ball down away from the block. This is the 3rd meeting all-time, the first ever in the tournament. Tied at 1 with apiece as Julia Norville, an outstanding server and defensive specialist. Maybe the best passer, maybe the best server. Tori Stafford is blocked, and immediately the size and length and athleticism of Washington State comes to the fore. And the first block by number 15, Yelasheva.
And that's so important. You see a lot of undersized outside hitters that really set that block across the nation. You've got a big physical block from Washington State.
Doing a good job on the outside, the setter, Argentina Ung. Very physical setter as well. And Olivia Babcock, wearing number 5 in white, really struggled in their last match, albeit in a win over USC. At one time, she was 5 for 23 with 8 errors, hitting negative. She ended up putting up pretty good numbers. You look overall, she finished 16 of 44, so really pulled herself out of it. Going back to serve. For the first time, Kat Flood, 6'2" senior out of Wilmette, Illinois. Left side to Isanovic, looking for a piece of the block, didn't need it. That ball was tucked just inside the end line. A senior transfer out of Arizona State University. Arizona State, her former team, one of the really interesting stories in college volleyball, not only this season, but also into the NCAA tournament, as they too, the Sun Devils, have advanced into the regional round. They will take on Stanford to close out the end of play. Here's Isanovic with the unforced error into the top of the tape, just underway. Sellout crowd on hand here at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, this historic old building. Tickets sold out in 10 minutes for this semifinal day, and then on to the championship on Saturday.
And you feel the energy, especially for Pittsburgh, and Washington State as a whole obviously is trying to quiet that crowd.
There at Babcock for the first time. You saw a 6'5" freshman out of Los Angeles, the ACC Freshman of the Year, also first team all-conference, the number 43 recruit coming in on the year. I'd like to see number 4, 5, or 6 if she's 43. What a year. 3.6 kills, hitting over 300 as an opposite in her first year. Carly Basham, transfer from Texas A&M, outstanding libero for the Cougars. That ball tucked down inside, nicely done by Radakovic.
And that is an offensive option that we don't see a lot. That quick set behind the setter, call that a 6. Usually you see that slide come and spreading that opportunity from pin to pin. So I like what Washington State has going right now.
Gianmarco Wokolo is slowed down, but Olivia Babcock showing you what she can do from the back row, that out of the right back. Beautiful delivery that time by the setter of the year out of Tustin, California, Rachel Fairbanks, wearing number 10 in white. Gianmarco Wokolo, grad student out of Columbus, Ohio. Excuse me, that's Tori Stafford. I was a little bit blocked by the official. Nice play on the outside. Rachel Fairbanks, 6' junior, very, very solid blocker as well.
But we get a look at Wokolo right now for Pittsburgh, coming in, closing that block with Rachel Fairbanks. Just doing a good job. And that's the experience that Pittsburgh has in a blocker like Wokolo.
Second team All-ACC, had a scary moment yesterday. She got absolutely rocked in a blocking play. Nice play high off the top of the block. That's Pia Timmer out of Germany, 6'2", fifth year, 698 kills now all time, and also over 1,000 days. Very interesting story as we look at Argentina Ong out of Sonora, Mexico. She is the 5-1 setter for Washington State. Perfect pass by Stafford, but just to finish the thought on Wokolo, a couple of the male assistant coaches were hitting the ball very, very hard out of the back row. Wokolo was blocking, took a shot to the head. She went through all the protocol, all the safety measures, but she was held out by head coach Dan Fisher for much of the rest of the practice. So really good news when we both saw her warming up for this match. Dylan Griffin, 5'8", sophomore out of Foothill Ranch, California, back to serve. Tied at 6, opening set here in Pittsburgh. Tough serve. Both of these teams loaded with arms. You mentioned it, power versus power. There is Timmer again, and Fairbanks can't make the dig. Pia Timmer averaging 3.4 kills per set, a couple of digs. Really, really wonderful, elite player with a lot of international experience, 37 aces on the year.
Don't hesitate to say elite. You've got both sides of the net right now. As you said, firepower, strong arms, but you put this ball in the air for any of these athletes, and they're going to take care of it.
Isanovich tucking down inside. Vasquez Gomez with the dig. Ung is going to be camped on the right side against that. That ball hit out of bounds, and there was a touch. Emma Monks, the transfer from Michigan State, second team all ACC. Her first year in Pittsburgh, there she was wearing number 9 in white. She's been very, very good, really good blocker, 1.6 blocks per set, 4th best in the country. Working on Isanovich, good high, hard swing. I remember earlier in the season when the Pac-12 was just getting underway, there was a match between Stanford, currently also a #1 seed, at home in Stanford, California. They play later today against Arizona State, against Washington State. Man, right around the dial on both sides, just heavy, heavy arms, and that's the way it's going to be this afternoon in Pittsburgh.
The key here, though, is knowing that you have heavy arms, maybe playing a little bit further back on that defense, reading your attackers a little bit more so that we can get some rallies going in both sides.
The numbers don't lie, particularly when you have a large sample size, and we certainly do with both of these teams, but the Pitt Panthers hold opponents to only 134 hitting efficiency. That's #1 in the nation, and 14 opponents under 100. So if there's going to be a defensive squad on the floor, it's going to be the team in white. And so far, it's looking that way from the service line, albeit a very narrow advantage. We'll give you the numbers in terms of hitting efficiency as soon as I get my iPad back on the table.
Well, Isanovich is hitting 4 total attempts. She's hitting at a 750. You've got Pia Timmer 2 for 4, hitting at a 250. And same on the side of Pittsburgh. Olivia Babcock doing it all. 2 for 4.
Emma Monks with the block. Back row attacker that time. Good call. Ball was passed too tight. Argentina owned it. Very quick, athletic setter wearing number 12. Maroon uniform for Jen Greeny. I didn't mention now in her 13th year, 8 straight trips to the national championship. Lost in the second round last year to the University of San Diego, a team that went to the national semis. Nice handle by Basham. Tipped over the top. And that ball cannot be gathered up. Defensively, Emma Klicka, outstanding libero, 5'7". Out of Ohio, wearing the libero jersey for Pittsburgh.
But the experience of Magda Jurlasovic to know where the defense is established, just putting that ball right over the backs of the middle blockers.
I thought it was a good delivery by Ung, so it was a good choice. Shank pass by Stafford. On the slide once again. Yelasheva, 6'3", in her graduate year out of the Czech Republic, 5 times all Pac-12, and again the #1 all-time blocker since the rally scoring came into the game. 766 stuffs, had 10 blocks against a really good Dayton team in the second round. I think I had 10 blocks in my career, and the guys I played with know that's true. Nice play by Young. Timmer out of the back row and just missed it. Graney looking at the official, thinking that there was a net violation. The challenges were awfully impactful in our first regional semifinal. Once again, won by Louisville. There was a ball early on in the 5th set that both Jen and I, well, I'm not throwing you under the bus, I'm just repeating your opinion. Both Jen and I thought was out, and it was called good, and that had a big impact on the early stages of that decisive 5th set tiebreaker.
But again, we have all of the challenges at our disposal.
Nice play by Wokolo. Make yourself available to Rachel Fairbanks out of the middle.
And you know, that ball was passed a little bit tight by Vasquez Gomez, the trajectory of that ball, but for Rachel Fairbanks of Pittsburgh to be able to take care of it, and Wokolo, that's the experience to be available. Everybody
talks about the freshman class, and rightfully so, at Nebraska as being the #1 freshman class, and that is played out. But the freshman class here at Pittsburgh maybe that's 1A and 1-2. Isanovich with a big heat off the left side. What an addition she has been coming over from Arizona State.
And we talked with the coaching staff, and they say that she is just lethal. She is like a bullet out of a gun. She has no pause. It's all go all the time.
And so far, very successful. 4 of her first 6, no errors. Both teams hitting at a very high clip relative to how good they are defensively. Tough serve. It's been out of system a little bit more. That ball looking for the top of the net violation. Wokolo thought there might have been a net, but that ball missed out of bounds. Dan Fisher thought that there was a net as well.
You're going to get
out of bounds, and it is going to be, that challenge will be overturned. So Pittsburgh now has 1 challenge remaining unless we go 5 sets, and then each team gets an additional challenge.
And again, Dan Fisher is not happy he had to use that challenge.
This is the best look.
And the net is just...
No, there's no net violation there. There's nothing there. 1-on-1, look out below. Beautiful delivery, perfect pass. Rachel Fairbanks to Babcock.
And that's how you get out of the rotation. Make a good decision. Rachel Fairbanks for Pittsburgh, relying on Olivia Babcock to take care of the ball.
There's Babcock, 42 aces on the year. She's already missed a couple. And Fisher was talking about his outstanding freshman, also out of Southern California. She gets a little bit wound up sometimes, and it's understandable in this rarefied air of this year's NCAA tournament. Tied at 13, 10 ties now in this opening set. Oh, good reaction by Timmer. Quick to the left side, and Pia Timmer missed it just out of bounds.
Everybody's looking for a touch. Put your hands together. Let's go, girls.
We're going to have our first challenge from Washington State head coach Jen Greeny, assisted by her husband Burdette, who is incredibly generous. There he is in the white Cougar hat behind. A former baseball player at Washington State, played in the minor leagues. And Jen Greeny, national semifinal appearances, and there was indeed a touch. So 2 challenges, and they have both, rightfully so, gone in the favor of Washington State. It's their 18th appearance, 8th straight under Jen Greeny for the Washington State Cougars. Really built a strong program there over the last several years.
Now, what Washington State has been doing so far in this set is really trying to figure out what these freshmen of Pittsburgh are made of right now. You'll see this ball go right to area 5. Get that freshman to pass the ball.
Good play by Vasquez Valeria Gomez.
I mean, that caught me off guard.
Yeah, well, Vasquez Gomez is a really, really experienced player. She's wearing number 2 in white for Pittsburgh, and knows that Washington State was targeting Tori Stafford.
What I'm talking about, Vasquez Gomez is going to pass the ball, but the high flying out of that big for Olivia Babcock. Beautiful execution.
Good first contact in system, quick in transition. Back to Vasquez Gomez, who's able to dump the ball down inside the Washington State block. We have come to our media timeout. 15-14 is the advantage for the #1 seed Pitt Panthers at home.
squads.
Anna Smrek back in the lineup. Penn State did beat Wisconsin, latter stages of the regular season. That ball, Isanovic is stuffed out of the middle. Good work by Wokolo along with Vasquez Gomez.
And we saw the preparation and the scout for Pittsburgh. That is how they get those 3 blockers together, because it's a little bit unorthodox. You leave someone behind to take care of the deflections off of the block. But Pittsburgh blocks 3 in the back row.
Nice play by Ung. Very springy, perfect pass by number 3, the libero in the white jersey, Carly Basham. Basham 5'8", in her 5th year as well, from Louisville, Kentucky, the transfer from Texas A&M. Went to the high school that produces more college-level liberos than anybody else, and that's Assumption. Look at the freshman Stafford. Absolutely perfect pass, yeah, by number 4 out of Torrance, California. Has had an absolutely wonderful freshman season. On the freshman team, played for Team USA in the under-19 World Championships, the number 12 recruit in the country.
But everybody gets a good pass every now and again. I think Washington State is still going to continue to serve at her, apply some pressure as she continues to rotate into that front row for offense.
Yeah, both teams, speaking of that offensively, have been very, very efficient so far. Pitt getting the better of it at 381, Washington State at 318. Nice dig by Stafford. And Babcock high off the top of the block. Very nice block defense and transition for the Pitt Panthers.
Really enjoy watching Olivia Babcock execute out of the back row in area 1. We call that a D. Just really good distribution by Rachel Fairbanks to her.
Both of these fine freshmen not only made the all-rookie team, if you will, in the ACC, but also made first team all-conference. Katie Ryan is dug right on top of the net. Good work by Timmer. And a good rip by Vasquez Gomez, and got a piece of the block.
And you definitely heard it here. And the side of Washington State might take another challenge.
Very solid season. Then they went through a stretch. Ball is out of bounds. No touch detected. There you go. Good use of the challenge once again. But then Washington State went through a stretch where they lost 5 out of 7. And everybody's kind of going, what's going on? I'm looking at the box scores. Everybody's playing. Everybody's healthy. They really got in a bad spot. And they've pulled themselves out of that, and they're playing really hard, really good volleyball. And of course, it depends who you lose to. During that stretch, they lost to Oregon. They lost to Stanford. Okay? But then they lost to UCLA, USC, and Oregon State. And that really was like, what's going on? But they regrouped, and a wonderful job by the coaching staff, because I think this Washington State team has the weapons to play with anybody that's still left in the tournament.
And also the ability to recognize that it wasn't skill related, it was definitely mental. So coming and collecting yourself and being able to bounce back to get to this position, relying on your veteran play, that just shows how excellent Washington State is.
(19-16) is the advantage. Opening set, Rachel Fairbanks back to serve. Working on Isanovic. Timmer out of the back row is blocked. And once again, 3 women up front. Monks, Fairbanks, back to serve.
You've got Babcock as well. Now up here, just scouted it, worked it out perfectly. Now for Washington State, I would have tried Katie Ryan on that backslide. She was available because all the blockers for Pittsburgh were pinched in.
There you're going to see it right on cue. The ball set a little bit too wide, but number 8, Katie Ryan, at 6'5", the junior out of Idaho, able to throw that ball down, and it's 20-17.
I will buy my lottery ticket as soon as I leave this match.
Lana Radakovic back to serve. She's been transferred into Pullman from UC Davis. What a pass. Beautiful pass by Klicka, the libero for Pitt. Both teams really scrambling hard. Babcock, and there's a net violation. Isanovic got it. Yep, net violation will bring that very, very good rally to an end, and now it's a 4-point advantage. Some A little bit of late separation as we get into the red zone, and Jen Greeny, I think, very concerned right now about this opening set.
And that tends to happen in a rally. You start to really get a little bit lower in your consistency, and you see a lot of swinging at the block. You see a lot of out-of-control opportunities, and that's what you're seeing with Washington State.
Isanovich really being targeted a lot right now from the service line. Good job by Vasquez Gomez. What a dig by Basham. Here comes Pittsburgh. They want to go very fast in transition. Good block touch. Timmer all over that. Long momentum rally. Yalasheva out of the middle. Magda Yalasheva hitting .431. So every 10 sets she gets, she scores 4.3 points.
But that is the consistency that I was referring to. Washington State, they remain within their composure, even running down a defensive ball to reset and earn that point.
Really good rotation with Norval back at the line. Flicka is rock solid right now in reception, and that was not rock solid in connection between Monks and Fairbanks, and a timeout is called by Pitt, 21-19. Monks, the transfer from Michigan State, also out of Louisville, was second team All-ACC. Mentioned that this was a good rotation, and Julia Norval would like to do that. Working on Stafford, who's been up to it as far as the passing is concerned. Good block touch. Isanovich through the block and down. Washington State back within one.
You put the bullet in the gun and you load it.
Really good backcourt defense, and I like Argentina on. She is so good. Two really, really talented setters.
But Argentina the location on her ball is in the same place every single time, regardless of who's attacking.
Stafford able to find a small hole through the block.
A little bit of riz, a little bit of razzle-dazzle. That's the theme of Pittsburgh. They want to be big in those big moments, and this is what you're seeing out of Tori Stafford.
Stafford was 13 of 29 against the visiting Trojans of USC. That first and second round, or those first and second round matches, were here in Pittsburgh after Pitt defeated Coppin State 3-0. They took out Skylar Fields and the Trojans 3-1. 2-point advantage. Pittsburgh in the opening set. Long tries to track that down, and it's a service winner. Won't go down as an ace. Kat Flood, very valuable serving specialist out of Wilmette, Illinois, now in her senior season.
But she has to make sure that the last thing the ball feels is a solid platform straight to her setter with a good angle.
Here is Flood again at the service winner just before the timeout. Timmer going off speed. Beautiful sliding dig. Stafford ripping inside the block. But what an airborne flying dig by Logan Mosley. Just tremendous play by number 14 in white.
She pushed off of the floor. Execution, pancakes. And Tori Stafford just taking an approach. Look how hard she works on that transition to get that angle and that kill.
Set point number 1 for the number 1 seeded Pitt Panthers. And it's a service ace. Kat Flood. Remember all the subs that produced for Louisville?
Yep.
Well, Kat Flood just came on for Pittsburgh with some defensive help from Logan Mosley and pushed the Pitt Panthers across the finish line in the opening set by a score of 25-20. That is
two stellar pin attackers for Pittsburgh, wide open. Single blocks, just putting the ball away.
Yeah, you've talked about it many times, the quality of this year's freshman class. Brooklyn DeLay at Kentucky comes to mind, Kennedy Martin at Florida. Of course, the 3 outstanding freshmen at Nebraska. Oh, that's a good smart shot. Valeria Vasquez Gomez off the edge.
Nice and flat. She didn't try to snap her wrist to bring the ball down. She saw the hands of the middle blocker for Washington State and just goes high and on.
Here's Fairbanks starting things off here. Oh, that ball just out of bounds. What do you tell Washington State after they really got outplayed by Pittsburgh in the latter stages of that opening set.
Well, they came out hitting and clicking on all cylinders, power for power, but they eased off a little bit when their passing started to deteriorate. So they need to focus on the first contact to be able to get into some offense.
Really beautiful pass by Klicka, just dialing it in. I hesitate to say that she is clicking with her setter, Rachel Fairbanks. Emmy Klicka, 5'7" junior out of Ohio, all ACC second team, and just passing right on target as Vasquez Gomez will go back to serve. Again, just underway here in the second. Pitt won the first 25-20. The winner will get Louisville. They're targeting Asanovic.
But again, you see on the first contact for Washington State, it wasn't very good, which you don't get to utilize every single one of your weapons.
Ilasheva is stuffed on the outside, blocked so far. Pittsburgh with a big advantage, 4-1. Keeping it on Asanovic almost every time. Pia Timmer out of the back row, dug by Klicka. Oh, and that ball went down. That's a surprise. Timmer, not a good read that time, but a smart shot by Stafford, the freshman number 4 in white, over the top of the block.
And a little bit of hesitation. You see a good dig by Klicka for Pittsburgh, because first contact was perfect for Washington State. Just the better execution on the side of Pittsburgh.
That is a really nice shot, a mature shot for a very young player. Ilasheva is dug. And off the block. And, well, they called it that ball hit Timmer on the way out of bounds.
Olivia Babcock definitely thought that ball.
Valeria Vasquez Gomez back to serve. 5-1 is the lead in the second set. Babcock, very good blocker. Wow. What a stuff by Olivia Babcock.
She loves it.
Dan Fisher, the head coach, absolutely loves it, giving a standing O.
I mean, the seal of the net. The way that she tracked the ball from the dig on the side of Washington State.
5-0 run now for Vasquez Gomez. That's a pretty smart shot that time by Asanovic on the outside, but there's just nowhere to go. Monks in the middle along with Babcock. That is a very, very stout block. Monks comes in at 6'4".
And even in that moment, Emma Monk says, "You got this, Olivia Babcock," and she just takes care of it.
Good service run for number 2 in white, Vasquez Gomez. Lead continues to grow. Washington State needs to get out of this rotation. Norville with a perfect pass. Good read by Fairbanks. And through the block and down by who else? Olivia Babcock.
8 of 14 so far, and it's only the second set for Pittsburgh. Just phenomenal execution, hit it at a 500.
Remember, this is a young woman. I asked Dan Fisher, did you think about taking Babcock out of the USC match? Because she was really struggling, but found a way. She's a 6-rotation player. So very, very active. Ilasheva with a nice kill on the slide into the cross court. Much, much needed for Washington State, number 15.
And Argentina didn't force that ball. She had a good serve reception, good first contact. You've got to figure out how to get Magda Yerlasheva into the match on the offensive side.
And Asanovic back to serve. Pretty well handled by Stafford. That was a very tough serve. Pia Timmer in transition, dug by Vasquez Gomez on the overt pass. What a dig that time by Vasquez Gomez in the backcourt. Fairbanks would like to have that one back. Asanovic will continue to serve. Long, long way to go. Big early lead is sometimes tough to maintain. Washington State getting out-served and out-passed so far, big time. Oh, tough serve. Asanovic with the ace.
And they're gonna keep going to the freshman Tori Stafford, see what she's made of. Washington State doing a good job, just drops that serve from end to end, cross 5 to 5.
Give you the perfect passing numbers from the opening set in just a moment. Pittsburgh has a big advantage in that department. Dug by Norville. Washington State not going to get a swing. Good block touch. And Monks, that ball might have been going out of bounds. Carly Basham tracked it down. If I may, Jen, just quickly.
Yeah.
In the opening set, Washington State 9 of 18 perfect passes. Pittsburgh much better, 13 of 20. That Flood closed out the opening set, coming on to serve. A couple of really good service winners as Dan Fisher is visiting with his new middle blocker, Emma Monks. And how important has she been? Bree Kelly was in the starting lineup for this Pitt team and suffered a very serious ankle injury. She's been out for the rest of the year, been out for a long time, out since September. What a swing. Olivia Babcock, nobody's got an answer.
Now for Washington State, Pia Timmer on that left pin is trying to find the floor, but Olivia Babcock on the other end finds it very well. You see her go crossbody, thumb up, right into that deep corner.
Should Washington State be moving the block in? We've seen a lot of dead cross court, right front into area 1 from Babcock.
That's the fun of watching an athlete like Olivia Babcock. Regardless of how you adjust to the block, she's going to go off because she's a very smart player.
Good block touch. That ball left way inside. Wokolo along with Babcock with the stuff. This one's getting away from Washington State in a hurry. 11-4 now is the advantage. Washington State already burned one timeout. Boy, defensively, Pittsburgh, it is hard to put the ball away.
And what Argentina is trying to do is find an opportunity for Pia Timmer to execute as the ball comes and tries to have us play and get in the match.
Almost a sideline facial. Almost a sideline facial. When you look at Washington State and their resume, they lost at Louisville early, lost to Stanford twice, they split with Oregon. The big one, they beat Texas in Austin. And Burdette Greeny was telling me about that match. They lost the opening set to the Longhorns, a very good team, and we're down 13-6. And we just said, look, we can. This isn't the team that won the national championship here. We are as good as they are. They came back and beat Texas again in Austin 3-1. So this team has been up against it before and been down.
But right now, you had mentioned earlier that this set is kind of getting away from Washington State. They're kind of pigeonholed to this lineup right now. They can't really make adjustments. So Argentina has to find a way to get her hitter some success.
Look at the serve. Olivia Babcock with a rip from the service line. Is very new to the sport of volleyball. Never really played until she was 15. She was a soccer.
Of Pittsburgh, she's been taking majority of the serve receive options, so her numbers are going to look a little bit low when you've got Olivia Babcock on the other pin taking care of business.
It's going to be interesting to see who's the National Freshman of the Year. There are lots of candidates. Babcock doing a good job defending her position, and then Tori Stafford off the edge. You watch Babcock in the match against USC when we were doing the 5th set last week in Bristol, Connecticut, and she can make some nice plays at the defensive end.
Now we're about to watch this ball go end zone, and she is really just trying to make sure Isanovic passes this ball, but it's so fast.
Oh, look at that.
It's so fast.
It got Norville. Norville was trying to get out of the way. And I mentioned that this set was getting away. 15-5 now for the Pitt Panthers.
This ball is so fast that you cannot move out of the way. You see Norville get tagged.
4-0 run. Interesting. Dan Fisher telling us what a live wire Babcock is. He just told her, just settle down. Take some breaths. Serve when you're ready. And she missed it out of bounds, but that's a good run. 15-6 with that ball served out of bounds as Katie Ryan comes back on the opposite for Washington State.
And he told his young freshman, although she's playing at an elite level, to relax, because as the game gets going, the excitement and her working off of her emotions.
Stafford is a good passer. She is a classy passer. Oh, there was a touch there for sure. Linesperson missed the touch, but you could definitely see the ball skid off the top of the block. Well, Washington State has got some thinking to do. We know it's only 16-6, but this set, in my opinion, this set is gone.
But the mark of a good coach, Coach Jen Greeny, is going to make the adjustments necessary to have her team get back into this match.
Starts with passing and getting into a good side-out rhythm. Lakovic wearing number 21, the 6'2" senior out of San Francisco. With the kill to slow Pitt just momentarily. And Timmer, that ball drifts. They're trying to target Stafford, but she's certainly been up to it. It was a good serve, just drifted out of bounds. Dylan Griffin coming back on, wearing number 16 out of Foothill Ranch, California. Another Californian. 4 Californians, 1 from Puerto Rico, 2 from Hawaii. Isanovich had to go down to pass that ball. Babcock with the dig, and Isanovich, oh, beautiful play by Griffin. And Babcock, that was a really good swing, but just missed out of bounds. Big time swing.
And even on that one, she wasn't on top. Olivia Babcock for Pittsburgh wasn't on top of the ball. She hit the meat of the ball, and that's why it sailed a little bit longer.
Very, very impressed with Olivia Babcock and Stafford so far, as I have been with the Nebraska freshman. So Kennedy Martin as well, mentioned that earlier. Brooklyn DeLay, she's coming up when Kentucky takes on Arkansas for the 3rd time. And Emma Monks, a little bit low, but able to get that ball to the floor. All Pittsburgh right now. There's number 9 in white. 18-8 is the lead. This is a little bit reminiscent of the first match when Creighton came back after losing the opening set and turned the tables and put a 25-14 beatdown on Louisville. Once again, Louisville survived and advanced in 5 sets.
But right now, as I mentioned, Washington State is stuck in this lineup, so they've got to figure out what rotation they're going to score some points in.
Stafford, that's a tough chance. Oh, what a beautiful set. That was a magnificent set. That ball was tight, and Rachel Fairbanks delivered perfectly.
The body control, the execution, the hands, what a pearl. You would think that she is going outside, keeping it easy to Vasquez Gomez, but she flicks that ball back to none other than Olivia Babcock.
Really, really a tough chance, and Rachel Fairbanks made it look pretty easy. That ball down off of Emma Monks. Good swing into the seam, that time by Iman Isanovich. This is the last time through for this group that's had a lot of success up in Pullman. Almost everywhere you look, it's either a 5th year or graduate student. And so this Washington State team, highly regarded all season long, came in as a number 4 seed. Look at Babcock track it down. And finally the ball tipped to the floor by Yashaleva. Yalasheva able to get that ball to the floor by Washington State. Look at this athleticism. 6'5" Olivia Babcock.
A little bit of help from Klicka to push Babcock into that position to be able to get that ball. But just the hustle play, it's all on the side of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the Pitt Panthers. They have had a really good season. Beautiful block. Yalasheva, again, coming in with 766 career blocks, more than any other player, not only at Washington State, but in the entire NCAA since going to rally scoring.
Make that 767. That was a beautiful read by Magda Yalasheva.
Babcock again. They're having a big afternoon. Now 12 of 20 with 1 error, hitting over 550.
And I mean, you go with the hot hand. Why not? If no one can stop her, you continue to execute out of Olivia Babcock. You've got Tori Stafford. She's maybe focused on that service, even at first contact, because you have such a lethal weapon in Olivia Babcock.
But again, the best defense statistically in the country, and they're showing you why. Stafford off the edge of the block and down. Washington State is hitting 186. Pittsburgh is hitting 400. On the year, the Pitt Panthers, statistically the best defense in the country, holding opponents to 134. 14 opponents, including a couple of them in the ACC, hit under 100. Here's Vasquez Gomez. Very good service run in the opening set. Good swing. Very nice swing by Iman Isanovic.
And you've got Pittsburgh in this set alone, and so far in the match, they have 29 kills to Washington State's 20. And in this set alone, the second set, that's only Washington State's 7th kill.
To 14 for Pitt. Pitt has been much better in every phase. That ball served out of bounds. Serve reception in terms of perfect passes, 13 of 20 in the opening set, and that will certainly get the job done in their side-out percentage. Right now at 66% to only 46% for Washington State. So Jen Greeny will have to certainly make some interesting decisions. A talented team, but so far they've been outplayed by Pitt.
And again, as cliche as it sounds, the adjustments for Washington State really need to be first contact, but also on the service line. They've got 4 errors and only 1 ace.
Look at Kat Flood. Kat Flood again from the service line. And the opening set was very, very even up until about 17, and then it was Kat Flood and the rest of the Pitt Panthers that pulled away.
And as I was mentioning, Kat Flood has half of the service aces for Pitt. Pitt sitting at 6.
Wow, that's a big
Washington State
number.
only 1.
That's a really big number. 6 is a lot. That number kind of implies a lot of pressure in the serving phase of the game. That ball just out of bounds.
And that's what I think Washington State is going to be focused on as they move forward, trying to at least pull a set off of Pittsburgh.
Logan Golden, defensive specialist out of Castle Rock, Washington, wearing number 4, came in momentarily. Here's Carly Basham, the transfer from A&M. Outstanding libero back to serve. 23-13. Dan Fisher, the head coach for the Pitt Panthers, will be joining us before the intermission after the second set. Chiamaka Uwokolo, and Rachel Fairbanks is having a day of it, as are all the attackers.
Rachel Fairbanks, that was somewhat of a blind set, but to have the trust in Wokolo to know you gave her a space that you said she was going to go, and just flick it to her and she takes care of business.
Set point number 1 for the top-seeded Pitt Panthers. Nebraska has already moved on against Georgia Tech. Overpass, joust there. And Olivia Babcock doing it in attacking, blocking, chasing, and serving. And a very impressive performance by the Pitt Panthers. Easily take the second set, 25-13. That was really impressive. Pitt Panthers hitting .421 on the afternoon, 8 blocks, 27 digs, 6 service errors, and right now, really, really impressive. And so has Tori Stafford at the other outside hitting position. They don't play the same position. Vasquez Gomez is the other outside hitter. Babcock is playing the right side and the opposite. And opening opportunity, and Emma Monks, one of the top blockers in the country, able to slow that down. 1.6 blocks per set is an incredible number. Yelasheva is blocked out of the middle once again by Monks. 25-20, 25-13 is the advantage, and another quick start for the Panthers.
Yelasheva really wanted to wait a little bit till that ball got to her left shoulder so she can push that ball into area 1, but a little bit of a trap set. Emma Monk was there to block it for Pittsburgh.
I would think that if Washington State gets off to, or I should say Pittsburgh gets off to another red-hot start, Jen Greeny has got to go to her bench to try to change something. Isanovic, very, very nice swing. This group between Pia Timmer, Yelasheva, Isanovic, this group has played a lot of high-level volleyball together over the last several years. Last year, it took San Diego to knock them out in the second round.
And I think with the experience, Coach Jen Greeny is going to rely on just that. The veteran play, experience says something. And you're coming against 2 freshmen and a phenomenally coached squad. They'll figure it out, as you said.
The only part of the equation is Pittsburgh is playing at such a high level in multiple phases. That ball was good. That ball, really a good swing. Beautiful swing by Tori Stafford. 6'2" freshman out of Torrance, California, 13 of 29 against USC, having just a very solid first campaign in college volleyball.
Flood serving again. Remember, she has 3 service aces of Pittsburgh's 6, so this is a hot hand behind the service line.
Handled well by Basham. Yasheva on the slide, missed that out of bounds. And now it is 4-1. Jen Greeny eliminates some errors. Serve reception has been slightly better to start this third set.
You see the adjustment in the serve receive pattern. Basham comes into zone 1 and moving back. Norville, but steady platform. No motion, good pass.
That ball missed out of bounds, didn't get on top of it. I'm surprised to see Norville. We talked to the coaching staff. Burdette Greeny, Jen's husband and assistant, mentioned that Norville, I mean, by some measure, might be the MVP. Best server, one of the best passers, and now she's been struggling. She's out of the rotation. 5-1. Similar start to the second set. A disappointing performance so far for a team as good as Washington State. Timing not there on the slide, but somehow finding a way to get the ball to the floor.
Yurlacheva just elevating above that. The timing may not have been there. Ball set a little bit too high, but for her to be able to take care of the ball, maybe that's what's going to get Washington State going.
Here's Isanovich, just underway, third set here in Pittsburgh. A full day of volleyball, as mentioned, started here with a really wonderful first round match as Louisville advanced. Following up between Washington State and Pittsburgh. Nebraska has advanced. Kentucky and Arkansas about to get started out west. Later on today, it'll be Tennessee and Texas, followed by Stanford and Arizona State. Penn State up in Wisconsin. Oregon taking on Purdue. Ace serve! That ball was good.
It
Washington State
so fast that you can't determine whether that ball was in or out because the trajectory and the pace on which Olivia Babcock serves.
That is an ace against anybody.
Anybody.
At any level.
Unless it was absolutely in the blue.
Did Ung get a piece of the block? That ball missed out of bounds. And Washington State going to call a timeout here. And make it 8-2, and there is the timeout. All credit to the #1 seeded Pitt Panthers. We will step aside. Right now, they are taking it to Washington State, up 2-0 and 8-2. Third meeting of the year between Kentucky, owners of the longest winning streak in the country at 18, taking on Jill Gillen, Taylor Head, and Arkansas. Kentucky won the first 2 meetings of the year. Free ball for a team that is just rolling.
This is their money rotation. Again, you've got Olivia Babcock on that service line, just firepower and lethal to be able to set up a single block and transition play for Tori Stafford.
Babcock 12 of 22, 3 service aces, 5 blocks. Very impressive performance by the freshman. And that ball just out of bounds. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's the National Freshman of the Year?
Again, tough freshman class coming into the 2023 season. I'm going Harper Murray.
Okay, Harper Murray at Nebraska. Bergen Riley, also a candidate there, setting a 5-1 all season long as a freshman for Nebraska, the #1 team in the country. That ball was too low. A rare miscue, and I do mean rare, on the afternoon so far at home for the Pitt Panthers. Fairbanks just set that a little bit too low, but the lead is 9-4, but most importantly, 2-0.
But Rachel Fairbanks is going to want that back, so look for Wokolo to probably get this ball on a good pass.
Oh, good block. Argentina Ung, number 12 on the outside. Really interesting story. Burdette Greeny told me yesterday he went down to Agua Caliente to look at Argentina Ong, who was playing a lot of international volleyball for her native Mexico. They had a meeting, there was some interest, but then on an off weekend, Burdett flew to Egypt to see her play and represent Mexico at an international youth tournament. And Argentina figured if he's coming to Egypt on his off weekend from Pullman, Washington, they must be serious. So that's how Argentina got to Pullman.
And talk about a recruiting budget to go from Argentina to Egypt.
I said that to Burdett Greeny. I said, you must have. He said, we've never had any problems with a very generous recruiting budget. Also an interesting story about how the floodgates opened for all the Eastern Europeans to come to Pullman as well. That happened back in 2018. I'll get to that after this point. Good pass. Oh, absolutely detonated. 2018, Washington State was down to 6 players, and they missed out on a couple of players who they were hoping would come and be part of the new recruiting class, and they went elsewhere. And so Jen Greeny told her husband, go east. And he said, well, do you mean to like the Carolinas or Florida?
Just go east.
No, go east, like across the ocean. Go to Europe. And Washington State had never done that kind of recruiting before. Pia Timmer was the first to come. Then Yelasheva came after that. Isanovic, seeing her Eastern European compatriots were having a really good experience at Pullman, joined them as a transfer. There are 8 international players, 7 from Europe, and then you add to that Argentina Ung from Mexico, from 7 different countries, more countries than states. That's a really good swing by Timmer.
That's a beautiful delivery. Argentina Ung was falling back, and you would think she would just make that beautiful, easy set to Iman Isanovic on the back row, but she pushes that ball from end to end. This is where you don't want to see Pittsburgh relax. You want to see them continue to have their foot on the gas.
Really good swing. A much improved offensive weapon. Valeria Vasquez Gomez. I don't feel, or I don't think at all, especially at home in front of this crowd, that Pittsburgh is going to let up at all. To me, look, Washington State is a really, really good college volleyball team, but they're just being outplayed in every phase. I think you just have to give all credit to Pittsburgh. Griffin back on to serve. That's a good swing by Katie Ryan, but the ball kept alive. Not a perfect free ball pass.
Got to be a little bit closer on that net for that free ball pass.
Block, backcourt defense, all started with a good block touch against Timmer on the right side.
And that's the first back row attack for Tori Stafford as well. Usually that ball goes right outside to that left pin. And that's good. Another adding to the potato head of the entire package for Pittsburgh.
I wouldn't have gone with a potato head.
I mean, you've got several pieces. You've got Olivia Babcock, Rachel Fairbanks, Emma Monks doing it out of the middle. Too much to go for Pittsburgh.
Radakovic, number 21 in maroon jersey, able to put that ball to the floor. And there's another freshman, Blair Bayless, out of Plano, Texas, the number 42 overall recruit. Just not breaking into the lineup right now, but a very, very talented player. And she'll step in for Vasquez Gomez next year. Dan Fisher has got it rolling here in Pittsburgh. Service winner. That's by Timmer. Graduate student out of Germany, and now it is 13-9, and Washington State doing what they had to after falling behind 8-2. At least they're back in contact, feel like they're in the set. Another good serve. That's 2 in a row that's absolutely dropped off the table.
And you might get a quick timeout from Dan Fisher, because this is what I was talking about. Pittsburgh has to keep their foot on the gas. They can't rely, because they have a 2-0 lead, because they had a larger lead than they do now in this third set, because Washington State is going to figure it out.
A couple of pretty good serves gave them some momentum. That dig right on top, set up by Olivia Babcock, and Emma Monks gets the kill on the overdig. That ball served out of bounds. A previous rotation when Pia Timmer dialed up a couple of aces. That gives her the all-time record at 451.
And you kind of get a feel that
151. I guess 451 would be pretty darn good. Thank you. Thank you. Team effort.
Washington State right now a little bit more in this match than we felt in the last 2 sets. It's because Olivia Babcock, that was her first attempt of the 3rd set.
Interesting.
So
That's a good call. Good.
Rachel Fairbanks is trying to get everybody else involved when sometimes you just got to stick with the hot hand.
Well, Babcock's in the front row right now, in the front middle. Doesn't matter if she's in the front or the back. She's incredibly productive through the first couple of sets.
Got to go down swinging for Washington State.
Well, right on cue. Pittsburgh heard you, as did Rachel Fairbanks. And in transition, it wasn't actually Fairbanks, but get the ball to Olivia Babcock, number 5 in white.
And as a setter, you would think you want to get all of your attackers involved, but if you are trying and someone is successful, as Olivia Babcock has been all night, you just keep feeding her the ball.
Well, she and Stafford, we'll get you the numbers after this point. Their numbers are fantastic. Kill percentage very high, and Stafford does it again off speed. Tori Stafford is 10 of 20, hitting almost 400. Olivia Babcock is 13 of 24, hitting 458. Match is underway. If you're interested in that, you can see it over on ESPN News, and we'll be headed. They'll be headed here to ESPNU as soon as we're finished. A lot of volleyball still to be played in Lincoln, in Madison, and out in Stanford, California. Yelasheva with a beautiful kill out of the middle. Good delivery from Argentina Ong.
And maybe that is something that should get Washington State going right now. That's a good tempo to Yelasheva. Got to get her going. Continue that first tempo offense.
Well, you look at the side out numbers. Washington State sided out at only 36%. Yeah, 36% in the second set, 37% at the last time out. And as you might imagine, Olivia Babcock and the Pitt Panthers, a different story altogether. 69% in the second set, 58% at the timeout.
And even though Pittsburgh high efficiency in this set alone, they're at a 438. It wasn't until a couple of points ago that Olivia Babcock even got involved in this 3rd set.
And look at the numbers where Washington State is now offensively. We mentioned a couple of times that the #1 ranked statistically defensive team in the country are these Pitt Panthers, and you're seeing why. That was such good hustle. Number 14, Logan Mosley, who had a spectacular flying dig early in this match. Look at her hustle, and it's hard to be moving that fast and then set the ball.
Stop on a dime.
Yep, right on target. Very, very nicely done. Cat Flood on the floor once again. Be a chance for Pitt. What a play by
rebound.
Look, what a play by Babcock. What an athlete. Tori Stafford with a rejection.
Just so much Pittsburgh, so little Washington State right now. No answer.
I really thought this was going to be a close match, and as Dan Fisher said, after the opening set, I agree with him. I know, magnificent play. It was like 18-19.
I just want to talk about how she stopped the ball mid-air to be able to rebound well enough to get some transition offense.
Yelasheva with a block on the outside, but it is a 20-13 advantage. And so Washington State is running out of time. I was thinking about Penn State and Wisconsin. That's upcoming. And out to Stanford, those matchups as well. Texas and Tennessee, and then also the #1 seed Stanford Cardinal taking on fellow member of the now defunct Pac-12 Arizona State. Speaking of that, I was speaking with Jen Greeny, the head coach of Washington State, what a job she has done, and asking about the future of Washington State athletics with the dissolution of the Pac-12 conference. And football has already signed to go play in the Mountain West, but all of the other sports still to this date no longer have a home. This must be a terribly frustrating situation for both Washington State and Oregon State.
Ace serve again.
We might have a challenge. Pia Timmer thought that ball was out of bounds. I think Jen Greeny was hoping that ball was out of bounds. So that's another ace.
I mean, I think this ball is well in.
I do too. Look at the exasperated look on Pia Timmer's face. That is eight this team have. But I'll tell you, Olivia Babcock has Olympian written all over her, and I know she's probably only 18 or 19 years of age, but you know, and Dan Fisher said, yeah, she's excitable. Well, who isn't at this, you know, stage of their life? But you know, it's her third match of the tournament. She looks incredibly comfortable, and she's producing in every phase, and then some. 3 points away from another regional final and a rematch with Louisville. Gerlasheva able to get that ball to the floor. There is just the slightest window of opportunity.
But that's where the intangibles for me come into play. For right now, for Washington State, they haven't been playing with that energy and that firepower that we've seen because they've been shut down at every turn, not able to go on those runs.
Shank pass. Maybe Carly Basham can get things going and at least put a little bit of pressure onto Pitt, because they have, again, Dan Fisher talked about it in our brief interview. You know, he thought the opening set was pretty tight, but after that, it is, I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just.
But it's one serve. They've got to find out where Olivia Babcock is. They've got to find out where Tori Stafford's going to hit, because Rachel Fairbanks is that good of a setter.
Or Chiamaka Wokolo. 25-13 in the second set and a 23-15 advantage. So do the math. That's 48-28 so far in the second and third sets combined. 2 points away. Tight pass, and Vasquez Gomez taps it down. Crowd comes to their feet, and multiple match points for Corey Stafford and the Pitt Panthers. The Panthers would be moving on to their third straight regional final against none other than Louisville. What a rematch that will be. Pia Timmer able to slice that ball inside the block, trying to generate some energy, but it's just all Pittsburgh.
Too little, too late.
Well, it's just all Pittsburgh. When a team is playing perfectly against you, hitting .423, out-digging you, out-blocking you, out-serving you.
And I don't think it was the atmosphere of being at home. It was just the dominance of the two stellar freshmen on the side of Pittsburgh.
Match point. Vasquez Gomez, and Pittsburgh is moving on to take on Louisville.
Talk about being big in big moments, and that is exactly what you saw on the side of Pittsburgh. The sheer execution, hitting at a whopping .425 on the mat.